Hello, and welcome to our website review series where we have Podia pros review real Podia websites, share their expertise, and answer your questions. My name is Ben Tolson, and today I'm joined by Podia Pro educator Eli Natoli. Eli is an international best-selling author, speaker, and marketing strategist who help experts scale their income, impact, and freedom. Her work has helped thousands of coaches and business professionals to the tune of $40 million in sales. Eli, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing? I'm going to have to do that again. I'm sorry because I forgot to add you to the screen. So now you're here and people should be able to hear you. So I'm going to do that. Eli, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm good, Ben. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're very honored to have you join us today. Before we get started, I wanted to ask you a quick question. I've asked each of the other website reviewers the same question, but and this is in two parts, what is your most favorite thing and what is your least favorite thing about being an online creator?
Ooh, that's such a good question. You should have given me a heads up too, because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
Well, the obvious one for me, the most favorite thing about it is just the freedom that I have to set my own schedule, take on the type of work that I want to take on, and not to deal with having to get up at a certain time every single morning. I literally wake up whenever my body wakes me up. So I think that freedom is the most favorite thing of all. The least favorite for me is I'm an introvert. And as an introvert, like I love creating, like those parts really energize me. But the parts that I have to, even if it's like a coaching call or if it's being on an, during an event, an interview, a podcast, something, anything that has to do with socialization, they really drain me. So I have to be very strategic about not having too many of them happening in the same week and to find ways like to self-care to be able to bounce back. So that's the only part for me that is the least favorite thing.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's kind of a maybe a misconception that when you're an online creator, that's kind of perfect for an introvert, right? Because you don't have to do as much stuff in person. But the kind of the nature of building an online business is you have to do a lot of these kinds of things to make connections and you have to be very social in other ways. So for sure. Are you maybe going to take a nap today after this?
So I have a coaching call after this. So after
Oh
that,
goodness. Yeah.
maybe.
All right. Well, I want to share a quick note for folks who are watching live, and thank you so much for tuning in. So, the way that we're going to conduct this is we have three websites that Ellie is going to review for us today, and we're going to take them one at a time. And between each one, we're going to have a short time to answer questions. So, as we are going through these website reviews, feel free to leave any questions or comments or thoughts you have, and we will have a time to bring those in. We already have a couple of comments from folks, and this is from Robert Rodriguez, who's also a Podia user. He says, looking forward to today's session. And I also have one from Mickey, I think, and says, I so understand what you mean, probably talking about the being an introvert.
Yes.
All right. Are you ready to dive into the first website review?
Let's do it.
All righty. And we have that just to make sure we have it. It's for Kelly's website. Okay. Awesome. All right, this website was submitted by Kelly, a certified human design practitioner who coaches individuals through life transitions and transformations using human design. Her question is, do the elements across my pages make you want to work with me?
Hi, Kelly. So that's a great question. And the way that someone lands on your website when they're here on your website, there are two things that kind of work side by side together to for them to figure out whether or not you're the right person to work with you. And those two elements are, one is your messaging, the way that you're positioning your messaging, and the other one is how that messaging is presented on your website. So when you bring both of those together, and when someone lands here and they can very quickly understand that you're the right person, then you've captured their attention. Now, there are three elements, right, when someone lands on your website that they want to know. The first one, and this is in this order, the very first one is what Kelly offering is something that is useful to me? Is it going to remove a pain point or a struggle, or is it going to give me the outcome that I'm looking for? So that's the very first thing that they have, they're thinking about. After that, if there's a check mark right there, like, yes, she's the right person, the second thing is, how is she going to help me get there, to remove that pain point or to get to that outcome? And then if you answer that correctly, if they have a check there, then the last part is she credible? Has she done this for other people, right? The social proof or some ways for you to tell them whether or not you're the right person. You have that credibility. So what I want to do is from top to bottom, go through your homepage and touch on both sides, right? Your design, the way you're laying out the elements of your homepage, as well as how you the messaging, the positioning of your messaging. So one thing to consider is when someone lands on your website, everything that they see right on that very first screen that shows up there is called above the fold. So if we can give them as much information as we can, right, on those three big elements, like, does she have what I'm looking for? How is she going to do that? If we can at least capture their attention as fast as possible, then we're increasing the chances of them to sorry, and let me get rid of this here. I don't know why that showed up. We're increasing their chances of them to scroll down and to poke around to find out more about you. So as as such, what we want to do is, what I would do on the very top part where you have your menu, I would really vertically make that as short as possible. So you can just bring everything up probably, and to buy yourself some more real estate. So that's above the fold real estate. So I would vertically shorten that part. And then the next part, which is like your banner and the main part that people are going to see, that's where you want to make sure that they identify you as a person who can help them. So again, from design perspective, what I would recommend doing, by the way, I love that thing that you got going on in the background. I love the color scheme of your site. What I would recommend doing is to have some sort of a layover where your text shows up on top of it, so it's easy for them to read. Like, you don't want to make it like work for them. You don't want to fatigue. Everybody doesn't read, right? Everybody scans your site, so you want to make it easy for them to scan it. So I would highly recommend having some sort of a layover where your text pops on top of it so they can easily see your messaging. I love that picture, how it ties back to the background that you have. I also recommend like using a tool like Remove That BG to remove the background part of it so that things are not distracting or competing visually. So again, the whole point here is to get them to focus on your message, right? So when you take like this little tiny, pay attention to this like little tiny detail, they don't really consciously know what's going on, but you're forcing them to pay attention to the text, to your messaging. Okay. So now let's talk about the messaging part of it. What I would do here when it comes to your messaging is think about your audience and think about what it is that they're struggling with and what outcome they want from you. So, is this, when you're working with your clients, is it just on professional side that they're going to have that benefit, or is it on personal side, right? So pick the most annoying problems they're facing, right? Is it that if they fix this problem, it's going to the effect is going to help them all around and their professional side as well? Or is it you work with people to figure out, like, maybe the entrepreneurs, right? So I would like really be specific with who that audience is, what their pain points are, And I would talk about that here in your messaging, right? If you're dealing with XYZ, if you've tried this and you're stuck, if you're feeling like, no matter what you do, you can't get to this outcome, the thing that you're missing is the human design part of things, right? So you're sort of transitioning it to this human design thing. That way you've captured their attention. And from there, you can like a little bit description about what human design is and what it does for them. So it's all about them, right? Because everybody's selfish. When they're here, they just want to know how can you help me? And then from there, you can then say, if you want to see how human design tools and systems can help you reach the outcome that you just touched on at the beginning, or remove those struggle points that you just touched on at the beginning, then grab a time to talk to me. Now, I've noticed coaching consultation that you have here is a free consultation. And that's an amazing way, like a lead magnet to get people to talk to you. I would actually call it out here. I would say, just like I said, like transition it and say, if you want to see how you can leverage human design system to reach that specific goal, like call it out. I invite you to grab a free 20-minute session with me to find if this is the right option for you. All right. The other thing that I would do is, I mean, from where I see everything is when someone lands on your website, there's a high chance, especially if they don't know you, that they want to like have several touch points, interactions with you before they buy from you. And so having a way to get them on your email list is the best way to do that. And I haven't seen that lead magnet or some other way outside of your free session to get them to do that, because when you offer people a free session, everybody knows that in a lot of ways, a free session is a sales pitch in disguise, right? At the end, there's a pitch coming. So you want to give them another non-threatening way for them to get on your email list. So think about what they would need to know or to have before they work with you. And I would turn that into a lead magnet to give you another way of sort of persuading them or building your credibility, show your thought leadership, and also give them different perspectives on how human design is going to be helpful for them. So all of that sort of work together to increase their desire to buy your product and services from you. The last thing that I want to touch on your site is that, so I would definitely have these articles all the way on the bottom. They're not, you have to think about like the order of what things people need to have or know to work with you, right? So we said the self identifier, whether or not you're the right person. From there, how are you going to help them? And that's where your services come into play here. So, what I would do with the way you're displaying your courses, your coaching, and your sessions is that I would really create like blocks, right? I would have one block for your courses. And I think right now you have only one course. And right here on the homepage, tell them what this is about. Like if you want to learn how to use human design at your own pace, if you want to, and then call out the pain points, if you want to, know how to, I think you talked about shadow work, like how to find your shadows and how to, get rid of them and those things. Like you want to call them out here. And then from there, like right now, your courses jump into another landing page where then it's like a little bit of a description what this is about, and then jumps to your course landing page. Like you want to remove friction. So from this, I would just go all the way to your course landing page, but give them a description of what this course is going to let them do, right? And again, focus on the pain points or the outcome, because everybody wants to know how it's going to help them. And then I would do a block for your coaching, and it seems like your Reiki and spiritual coaching is more like a reading and energy work, and I would do maybe one block. If you think they're two different services, one block for that. But the point here is what I would love for you to do is call it out. Like, what is this coaching going to help them do? Like, how is it that, having you by their side, helping them coach, how are you going to help them reach that desired outcome? And don't like focus on like how it's structured, like it's 30 minutes, we're going to do this, but focus on the benefits they get out of your coaching. One side note, when you do set up your coaching page, actually, is the don't give people too many options. The more options that you give to people, you there's this thing called decision paralysis. So I noticed like the your coaching packages are similar. You just give there's just the different options that they have, like more touch points with you. So I would have like one coaching package and then like VIP, like get additional blah blah at this price, or you also can get additional what have you at this price. That way it's just one coaching package, but different ways that they can work with you. Similarly, I would do the same thing. I noticed like you had different Reiki packages, but it's just the number of touch points that they have with you. So create a blog right here and explain to them what they get out of having you, being by their side, doing that energy work, and then, and then just do one Reiki package, but then the options underneath of that. I love that you have the social proof underneath. That's where people, once you've grabbed their attention, you've told them, how you can help them, you've told them how you're going to do that. This is where your credibility comes in. And then you can do your articles and different things that you have down here, your social media links and so on and so forth. So overall, I mean, I love the design. I love how everything has come together. What I would do is just focus on the messaging right here to make sure that you're checking those three boxes.
I really appreciated the call out too about setting up some kind of email newsletter, something that's a little bit less of a commitment than signing up for a coaching call, and that's a great, I think, a shift in the way that creators think about those kinds of things, because in your mind you might think, oh, it's a free thing. They can sign up and have a coaching call with me for free. Um, and even if you're not thinking about it as like, well, yeah, but you are also using that as an opportunity to establish a relationship and hopefully convert them into a customer at some point. So there is some sales element to it, but you're also asking them for their time and their attention, and people really highly value their time. It's even when you're offering value for free. So all the more reason to, like you said, focus on those benefits, and then give folks other ways to connect with you and to start that relationship, like an email sign up.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Did you have any other thoughts or notes for this website?
Um, I think those were it from me.
Okay, great. Well, I'm just going to bring in a couple of quick comments here before we move on. We've had some folks who have watched a couple of the other ones are tuning in again. This is Run Again Rover says hello from Philadelphia. And
Hi.
Gloria says hello again from El Salvador. So we got listeners from all over the place. It's lots of fun.
That's awesome. Hi, Gloria.
All right. Are you ready to dive into the next website?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. This website comes to us from Michelle, an NASM certified nutrition coach whose experience as a caregiver for her mother led her to create courses and build an online community to help others maintain health and wellness through life transitions. Her question is, how can I improve the user experience and increase engagement?
I love that. Hi, Michelle. So, first of all, let me say what a wonderful, wonderful gift that you are sharing with the world. This is something that we don't see a lot of, and it's definitely needed. So, wow, amazing, amazing. So, from the standpoint of user experience, the way I see it is if we can give people what they came here to get in an easy to find a way, with that our site has done its job, right? So along those lines, what I would do is think about again how you bring your messaging and your design together. You lay out your messaging in a way that people can get what they're looking for in an easy to find way. So, from top to bottom, if we look at how those elements work together, part, we want to keep that area very clutter free, right? Normally, when you look at the navigation, the main things that people really look at there is just looking for jumping off points, right? How do I find out more about Michelle, like your about page? What does Michelle have to offer? How do I work with her? Those type of things. So I would really keep it simple, like have your home, about, books and courses, or maybe it could just be like your, start here, or how to work with me, or how to get started on your journey, something like that. And I love the testimonials. You can put your testimonials there. I wouldn't do FAQ here. When I took a look at your FAQs, it seemed like it was all around your book. So FAQs really has to be in the context of what they're looking for. So I would like put those questions right underneath where they're getting more information about your book. Otherwise, they're not going to really understand. It's out of context. They're not going to know what to do with this. Similarly, I would get rid of your community newsletter and your webinar from your menu. And I'm going to tell you shortly exactly where you can put those. I do the same thing as you do in my top navigation. I have my name, so my logo is my name, Eli Natoli, and I'm doing something similar to yours. I have international speaker, best-selling author, and marketing strategist. So similar to what you're doing. So what I would do is get rid of your picture. Again, it's all about keeping it clutter free. Your users, when they land here, they can just scan through and get the information they're looking for. So you can just do your name, your tagline, home, about, books, testimonials, and that's your top navigation. And then the next thing that I would do here, I absolutely love your journey that you're sharing here with your audience. It's just such a beautiful journey. So I would actually, I love this picture too. What I would do is like split it into maybe side by side column and have your picture on the side, because the point again is to get them to the information, to your message, to that thing that they came here for faster. So we're sort of losing some of that real estate here. So I would bring the messaging up, maybe put it side by side. And the comment that I have about the way you are positioning your journey is that, like, when someone's here, like, as human beings, again, we're selfish. We just want to know what's in it for me. So I would reposition your journey in a way that you show them how your journey is going to help them, right? When you do that, automatically you've grabbed their attention. And it doesn't really have to be anything more than maybe just tweaking a couple of words here and there, or maybe just a sentence, right? Like, if you are in the same place that I found myself, 4 or 5 years ago, where my roles was reversed, and I found myself taking care of my mother, like just a little change in that positioning, then all of a sudden they now see everything through their own lens, right? As they're reading your journey about what you went through, and how, you found your roles reversed, and how the things that you found, they're seeing it from their point of view, and now you've got their attention. And that's actually a great way to transition, right? Because you're talking about your journey and how, you discovered yourself, and you were able to, embark on these different journeys as far as nutrition, and find all this information. So what I would do is then that gives you a great way to transition from that, to tell your audience that, you had to piece together information. This journey taught you a lot. You learned a lot, and you also realize, like, you were really isolated, and you didn't want other people to experience the same thing, to go try to piece information together, to feel isolated or not know what to do. And as a result, you're here sharing your journey, helping people to get, to have an easier transition, which gives you that sort of the transition to what you're giving to them, which is your book or your community, like what you have to offer to them. So that's like a very smooth transition for you from your journey to what you have to offer. So then I would do a block for your book. And I would also highly encourage you that when you're talking about your book, just always keep remembering about your audience, right? They're here because they want to know what's in it for them. So talk about what this book is going to help them do. Is it going to give them everything they need to know how to make that transition, how to, find the support, advice, everything that they need to know to have this journey, an easier journey. This is the book that they're looking for. So position it from their perspective. And your community, and as well as your newsletter, then they also live here as separate blocks. So talk about how your community is the thing that they're looking for. If they want to be around other people who are going through the same thing, so they're not isolated, they can leverage everybody's advice, and leverage everybody's what they know to make their journey a little bit easier. So position it from their perspective. And then you can talk about the newsletter. Like, what benefits do they get when they join your newsletter? Do they get tips and advice on nutrition, on how to care for their parents? Everything that you actually do, like touch on, like some of the, like highlight some of the outcome or things that they get once they join your newsletter. And that's a great lead magnet to get people inside, on your email list. So I love that. I don't know the order that you want to display these. That is something that you need to like sort of look to see where, like where you want your audience to go. That all depends on your business model. Like, do you want people to actually get on your email list first? Like from where I see things, that's like a first thing that I want people to do when they land on my website. And if that is the case, you want them on your email list, that would be the very first block right after your journey. Or do you want people to be part of the community? Then that becomes the block, right? So depending on where your profit drivers are, like where do you want your, like the first place that you want people to go, and then from there where you want them to go, you categorize them or prioritize them that way. But I would definitely have different blocks: one block for your book, one for your community, one for your newsletter, and then prioritize based on whichever you think you want your audience to take action based on that. And I would use images that they can see themselves in that outcome, right? So if, for example, if in they join your community, and that allows them to be around other people who are sharing the same journey and get tips and advice and all that, perhaps a picture of someone who's taking care of like someone in a community, or it could even be a picture of someone who's taking care of an elderly parent. So like use images that represents the outcome they get. And that sort of ties things together, because I feel like at the upfront, it's good to have your picture for them to see who you are and put your journey and who you are together. But after that, I would use pictures that represents exactly what it is that they get, like the book, the community, and the newsletter. The last thing I was just going to touch on before we move away from this one is your book. So when you bring people to your book landing page, I noticed that you have three sort of, was it here? Was it on top? I think it was here, books and courses. So in this one, I've noticed that you have like different version of your book. Like you have the book with audio, and then you have the audio version by itself. And then here you have another version of it. So like a PDF version, I think you have here. So what I would do is just do one version of it, and then give them different options, like if the audiobook, the download, what have you, the PDF version, or the hard copy version. So that way they're not confused about what these different things are. So I would just do that. And I think this is something about your wait list that's coming, and you can make that and its own block that you're driving traffic to as well. And yeah, so that FAQ, I would definitely, because it's all about the book, I would also bring it down to where your book is, because that's where they're going to have questions about, the different things that you're disclosing there. So I would have it there as well. I love that you have this free webinar coming up as well. Maybe that's one of your lead magnets that you're going to use on your homepage. So, if that is what you're going to do, then maybe after your journey or right before your journey, you can have a block right there and tell them that your webinar is coming, and then tell them exactly why they should join you for this live webinar, what they're going to walk away with. So, touch on the outcome and the benefits, and then go into the rest of the blocks on your homepage.
Those were all great insights. I especially liked what you had to say about the different books, and without without making any guesses about how Michelle was thinking about this, I think sometimes as creators, when we're wanting to sell products online, and it kind of there might be this thinking that, oh, if I have different versions of it, I should represent each of those different versions, and that also, it looks like I've got more to offer that way, and that kind of thing. But um but really putting the emphasis on the messaging, like you've been saying, how what is in this book, and making that the focal point, and then maybe having, because we have the tile section, so like a 3 section thing where the 3 different types of books are available, and they can click on them that way, where it takes more real estate goes to the messaging, and then they can choose which format they want. That also kind of reminds me of what you said with the previous website and the coaching, because if the emphasis is on what what they're going to get from a coaching call, and then they have different options to choose from that are at different price points, and you can maybe have a couple of bullet points for each one, differentiating the different coaching offers. But I just, that was such a great call out, just that subtle shift in the way that you think about it, and really putting the messaging first.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's what Michelle's doing here is incredible. And as someone who's nearing that time, time frame in my life, or that season of my life where I find my parents, they're getting to that point. And I know that there are not a lot of people like Michelle who are talking about these things, and they're impacting many people's lives. So it's just a matter of making sure that someone like me who lands on Michelle's website know exactly how she's going to help me or guide me through that journey with different ways that she's doing it, whether it's through the community or through her newsletter, or just by reading her book or the upcoming course, just so I know what options I have available, or this is like a one-stop shop for me to be able to not only get her support, but also to be around other people who are going through the same thing. So it's just a matter of making sure that we're communicating and positioning that message so they know exactly what she has to offer.
Yeah, and you said it really well earlier. A lot of folks going into that season of life feel like they have to go and hunt down information, and they feel like they're just piecing things together. And um, how you said that Michelle could connect those things about her story and her experience to what people are going through when they come to their website, and kind of framing it through other people's experiences is so powerful. Lauren is tuning in and said, agrees with that, says, good reminder to focus on the user experience and how we can help them. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Ben, one thing that it just dawned on me as well. Like, I don't see the nutritionist, like Michelle comes from a background of nutrition and wellness. And I really want to see that as well, because that also plays into very important questions that a lot people have when that rolls out. That's part of the bigger picture, right? So I want to see that also come through very loud and clear and strong as well, so people can see that you come from that health and wellness background, and you're bringing that into this picture because your topic is very sensitive. And I feel like that is also a missing ingredient that people need to know about.
yeah, like when we introduced this website, I mentioned that Michelle's an NASM certified nutrition coach, and
Mhm.
that uh, that may or may not have been somewhere in the copy, but definitely something that's good to kind of, it's, in some part of the page to draw attention to, because it increases, that feeling of trust, and like, oh, this is a person who knows what they're talking about, and that I can actually learn something from.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a great call out. Um, Mickey says hello from France. So we got some
Hi, thank you.
folks from across the pond.
Love it. Hi.
All right. Do you have any more notes on Michelle's website before we move on to the last one?
I think that was it. Yeah. So let me switch here.
All right. Well, let's jump in. This website was submitted by Neil, who runs a YouTube channel with nearly 60,000 subscribers that is dedicated to camper vans and mobile living. His question is, how do I convert more visitors to subscribers? And I was going to just give the caveat real quick. He's in what he submitted for his website, he talked about wanting to grow an online community. So I think here, when he's talking about subscribers, he's really talking about the community, which is looks like the focal point of his homepage. So
Yeah, that's what I assumed as well, Ben. So, I mean, I love Neil how you've laid out your entire homepage. It's really easy to scan through, to navigate through, and to get to the core parts of what you want them to do. So, I'm like Ben, I'm assuming that you want to increase your subscribers for your community. I did also see on the bottom of your website that you do offer coaching packages. So I'm also going to assume that, as part of increasing subscribers is like your way of getting in front of these folks to be able to perhaps get them to work with you to coach them. So, what I would do is I would sort of take a step back and take a look at your profit drivers. Like, where do you want people, like, where do you want to drive that traffic to at the end of the day when you have those people on your email list? Is it that you want to, like, your profit drivers are on the community side of things? Or is it that you want them to have those coaching calls with you? Or is it even for your YouTube channel? Or do you want to monetize your YouTube channel more and you want to somehow be in front of them so you can give them those notifications for them to go and check out a new video because you're very consistent on YouTube as well. So I would start with those profit drivers, and then I would like work backwards from there. So when I looked at, like, let's say your coaching calls, it seems like they're more positioned towards people who are either new, they're thinking about yeah, getting on this journey or on this adventure, or maybe it seemed like there was one coaching session geared towards the enthusiast. So depending on who that audience is it a beginner audience? Think about what do they need to know or to have if they're just standing on the sideline and have this dream and they just don't know what the next step is. Like, how do I get that IV? How do I buy it? What do I do? Like, what is it that they need to have? And then create a lead magnet that is very like well positioned towards that audience, right? If it's more for, let's say, enthusiasts who already have embarked on this journey, maybe it's just a guide on like resources, social media sites, or communities that they can get more information. I know you have your own community as well, but maybe just a resource guide where they can have the most important information they need if when they're on the road or what have you, that they need to have. Like, I don't know your audience that well, but you know think about your audience, take a step back from there and think about what they need to know or have before they need to take that next step in their journey. And I would turn that into a lead magnet. And again, I would start it with your profit drivers. I highly recommend, if you have multiple, like if you want to get people to do coaching call with you and join your community, and you also want to have people who I want to hear more about you to increase your YouTube subscribers, I would create different lead magnets and then sprinkle them based on the priority, right? So if the priority is to get more coaching calls, I would have that lead magnet upfront, like right at the top, somewhere after you introduce your your community or what you do, and then from there sprinkle them throughout your homepage or other places where it makes sense. And then, yeah, depending on which of your profit drivers are more important to you. But overall, I mean, I love prioritize the different parts of what you want your audience, how to get support from you, what they need to know, or how they can get help from you. You've done a fantastic job both on messaging as well as layout here.
So looking at it, seeing that he has the community up at the top, and I know a lot of our creators will use a free community as a way of um, making that initial connection and building that relationship, and then inside the community, having opportunities to upsell to different products and that kind of thing. And so, like we've been talking about, without really knowing what his specific business model is, but assuming that his goal is to get more people into his community, I think, definitely having that at the very top, and some of the information that he shares there is really good. What are some things that he could do, though, as when somebody lands on the page, who might be the perfect candidate for his community? What could he do to that first section to really grab them and to get them to say, "Oh, that's where I need to be"?
Yeah, I love that. That's a great question. So I would make it more about, depending on the people who are joining the community. Are they people who are very, very brand new, or like think about like who they are, or are they like enthusiasts who've already been on this journey? And think about what they want. If they wanted to be part of a community, what are the most important things to them? And I would call those out. Like if if it's new, then inside here you're going to get everything you need to know to be able to transition or to embark on this journey, to make your transition much smoother, or to make your journey more enjoyable, to have all the resources, to be around other people. So I would call out those things that they need most to be able to to get there. So I would position it from that perspective, so they can see the benefits of joining this community. Although it is free, but still, we need to call out exactly what's the benefit and what they're going to get out of it to entice them to take that step.
Yeah, and that really goes along with a lot of the other advice you've given, just that benefits first language, and thinking about what is the person coming to my website looking for that my community can offer them, and really making that the headline.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, nowadays, given that we are bombarded by so much information, right? Like a decade ago, information was not that readily available to us. So it was really nice to, when you come across a website or a creator where they would say, okay, I'm going to give you all this information. So they're bringing that information to you instead of you hunting for them. But now it's just effortless. Information is coming at us, and a lot of it. So the last thing people really want is more information. So when it doesn't matter what we're giving them, if it's a free of anything or is paid, it's a matter of showing them what they get that is beyond information. How is it going to help them live a better life, or to experience something better, or make their experience easier? So we got to think about it from that perspective and show them how we're making their lives easier and better. And that's the thing that's going to persuade them or entice them to take that step. Not so much that, oh, you're going to get information, or I'm going to send you, a newsletter every week, and I'm going to give you blah, blah, blah. Like position it from how it makes their lives better.
I like that. That's really great. All right. Do you have any other notes for this website?
I think that was it. Like I said, I mean, Neil's done an amazing job as far as the layout goes, and majority of his messaging. So yeah, I think that was it.
All right. I really like the design too. It's a beautiful design. Like the
Yeah, very
colors,
clean.
yeah, the colors and the simplicity. Um, and Yeah, it's really great stuff. All right. Well, I really appreciate all of the insights you shared. I know it's been super valuable for folks who are tuning in. We've gotten a lot out of it. Um, I'll share a few quick announcements real quick, but folks who are watching, tuning in live, or maybe watching later, thank you so much for taking some time to watch with us. And Ellie is one of our Podia Pros. And Podia Pros is a program that can connect you with expert designers, specialists, and educators who know Podia inside and out. And there we've got Ellie right there. She's one of our Podia Pro educators. So you can learn more about that at podia.com/podia-pros. And special announcement, we have another winner of the Fiverr $500 bonus prize. It goes to Michelle Jones, whose website we just reviewed a few moments ago. So congratulations to Michelle. And if you want to have your website reviewed by a Podia Pro and have a chance to win up to $2,000, there's still time. You can go to podia.com/creator-fellowship and apply by submitting your Podia website by May 9th. So by tomorrow, you can submit your Podia site and have a chance to win up to $2,000 and have your website reviewed by a Podia Pro. And if you enjoyed today's website review, you've got one more. The best way to tune in is to go to our YouTube channel, and under the live tab, you can see all of our live streams there. We've got one more coming up tomorrow with Lauren Ashley, so you can click on notify me if you want to check that out. All right, Ellie, thank you again so much for being here. Thank you for sharing all of these great insights and providing so much value. If folks want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
For sure. It's my website, elinatoli.com. Easy peasy.
All right, great. Well, thank you again. And folks, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for having